each of you to make a point, offer comments or advice about the running of this organization. And we have to do all of this by 3:30. So I think, it should all happen by 3:30. At this point, based on that agenda, maybe we can rearrange the amendments first. I'm going to hand it over to our General Secretary, Dr. Ijaz Ahmed.
So you want to go to the amendments first?
If we can do that.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum. So I'll kind of rearrange the agenda instead of, you can already see the quick recap that's already listed there. And before going to the finance, we'll discuss these constitutional amendments that have been proposed. And the first one, I'm actually going to start with the name of the organization, since that's a little bit of a shorter one and maybe a good one to start with. And currently, the amendment states in Article 1.2 that the association shall be named as Association of Ahmadi Muslim Scientists USA, and its sphere of activities shall extend to the United States of America. And the proposed amendment is to change it so that the association shall be named as Ahmadi Muslim Scientists Association USA, and its sphere of activities shall extend to the United States of America. The association shall be abbreviated as AMS lowercase ca, so AMSCA USA. So I did a quick tally. We have about 27 attendees that are here. A couple other people just came in, so.
Does anyone have any comments?
Yes.
Green by me.
Yeah. So if anyone has any comments either in favor or against this proposal, you may speak. Gee. You can come, you can speak. Wa alaikum salam. You're allowed to comment.
Just a small suggestion. AMSCA is a bit mouthful, and Ahmadi Muslim Scientists, so AMSA, it becomes, you can say AMSA. So AMSA USA would be more easier to say out loudly, or to when you refer to it. AMSCA USA would be difficult to say. So that's just a suggestion.
Jazakallah. Unfortunately, the AMSA here in the United States is used as Ahmadiyya Muslim Students Association, and that's used very around universities. So that was where we had to keep it a little bit different. That's why the proposal was. Uncle Kareem, did you have something you wanted to add?
Yes. So this is where my suggestion is that this is a proposal. However, it can be made more catchy, if you will. So we can have two options here today. One is to go with this proposal already and vote on it. But if membership considers that this is suboptimal and we should table it right now and collect new suggestions, what would be a better acronym that would be voted on as well? So in that case, what we will do is this: we will invite all of you to suggest a name for this association along with an acronym, and then we can vote on that one, whichever wins the vote. Does that make sense?
Yes, I think that's one way we can do it. If you want to come up and then give your suggested name.
And
yes.
I would kind of support this notion that has been proposed by Tosif Ansab that AMSCA does not sound well.
Gotcha.
And this acronym needs to be more catchy.
Okay, I understand that.
Two gentlemen.
Yes, there are two people who have raised their hands, so you can come up.
I was going to propose the proposal as it stands. I think it's very powerful. AMSCA, it's it says everything. We don't need to make it more complicated. We've got, I think, more important things to cover in this session. I think we should just go ahead with the the motion or the proposal and keep plugging away.
Jazakallah.
I just want to say about 1.2 up to USA. Extend activities shall extend to the USA. So I'm not sure if there are other clauses which might say that you extend to other countries, otherwise I won't be here today because we're coming from Canada. So maybe in some way you collaborate with other partnership organizations, maybe that can be added to this. Jazakallah.
Yes, maybe that could be reworded.
I think, though, this is what the Constitution states. So if we wanted to change that clause, that would be part of the amendment that we're proposing. I think, just to be fair, Canada has a Association of Ahmadi Muslim Scientists. So we want to collaborate. At the same time, we want to make sure that each of us has our own sphere of influence.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I think these are the jurisdictions which imposed the system of Jamaat.
Ji.
So you're right that it should remain as a US and same in the UK because these are the systems of Jamaat which we discussing.
Okay.
If I may.
Yes, of course.
So your website name is, my name is Mubarak, Dr. Mubarak.
Ji.
Your website is muslimscientist.com.
Mm-hmm.
So there must be a reason when you did not use the word Ahmadi with that. So my suggestion or thought will be, keep it simple. Your web name is easy to remember. So your organization should be similar, Muslim Scientist USA, MS USA. So I think it's more inclusive in my mind. But I don't know what the thought process was behind just naming Muslim Scientists. So it seemed like in unison should be good.
Okay. It's interesting. Did you have a
I
thought?
think just
Yeah.
to give background, when we, so this is what evolved over the last 3 or 4 years. When we formed the new website, muslimscientist.org, we wanted to capture a large focus for outside as well as inside purposes. So just kind of like there's a Majlis Ansar Sultan al-Qalam, but their website name is muslimwriters.org. And so we wanted to capture that umbrella term before someone else did, even though our inside name is something very specific. So that was the background. Regarding the other question about Canada, USA extensions, I will also just state that whatever, just like any other organization within Jamaat, whatever amendments or proposals are made today will go to Huzur for consideration. There's also a chance, which I have to find out about, that the Association of Ahmadi Muslim Scientists may be a blanket term for all of the scientific organizations in the various countries. But the reason why we wanted to propose this was that it was just much easier to remember Ahmadiyya Muslim Scientists Association as a name. And in a letter to Huzur from a couple years ago, Huzur called us the Ahmadiyya Muslim Scientists Association instead of AAMS. So we thought that maybe this was just something that would be easier for everyone.
Are there any more comments or suggestions for the name? With your permission, we can. So I have. There were a few more people that just joined, so I just need to make a quick count. 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, my count is 2, right? This says 29. So I'm counting 29 members who are here present. Are they
So
considered?
I think Green Buy's suggestion, sure, if you could hold up one. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. If you feel like you don't fit the membership, the next amendment is about membership. So I think maybe at this point we could just, if you feel like there's any connection with the Scientists Association, you're welcome to participate, because the next amendment is about what constitutes membership.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a little bit of a gray zone right now.
Right.
But I think what Green Pie suggested was we have to vote between three options.
Okay.
One option is make no change. Oh, sorry.
Jay.
One option is make no change to the name. The second option is make the change to AMSCA USA as well as Ahmadi Muslim Science Association. And the third option is make this change but table the acronym for later. So I think is that correct, Green Pie?
I would say then the wording would be a change is needed, soliciting suggestions.
For the acronym, just for the acronym.
Name
Okay, so for,
then my view is that acronym should reflect the
Right.
name as well.
so even though it seems like, please.
I've been attending the conferences in Canada and here also. I don't think there were any particular conditions ever asked from me. So some friend asked me that I should be a scientist. Maybe I can suggest something.
Yes.
I have to suggest something. So I think it's, if you could kindly clarify that it would be good.
Yes, in fact, that'll be the next discussion. So for now, to gauge what the overall feeling is, and we can make a note that, we have not clarified exact membership on this vote. You're welcome to vote. And so the two options are no change and table for later, or change as suggested here. I think at this point we should move on and make the vote.
Those would be the two. So, those in favor of not changing the amendment, please raise your hand. Meaning table it for a later discussion. Table it for a later discussion. That we will not.
Soliciting new proposals and then a vote later on.
But that also includes if you potentially think it should stay the same.
Right.
Yes. Also, if you feel that that we should keep it the same, or if this requires more discussion for a later time, then you can raise your hand.
I'm just voting for if it should stay the same.
Yeah, then that's fine. Yeah. I count 10.
Did you count your two?
Hmm?
Did you count your two votes?
And those in favor of changing the amendment as it is written up here, please raise your hand. Gotcha. Yeah. Do I announce the votes then?
Sure.
Okay, so there were 10 votes for holding it off, tabling it for another time, or leaving it as is, and 9 votes for changing the amendment as it is written. Right. So Jazakallah. Again, this will be put into a report and sent to Azur, so even the votes that as it is and so forth.
I'm not asking for it to be changed, I'm just saying keep it.
Right now, you're saying keep it for now, and if
Part of that vote you're saying is we can change it another time.
Do you think it would be useful to get a subset of the 10 and just see how many of those actually think should stay the same?
The other way is to vote on each separately. Everybody votes yes or no on every clause.
Gotcha.
I myself think there's no need if it can stay as is, and anytime somebody can still make a motion, we need to change.
Right.
So
Even if someone does make another proposal, we'll still have to go through a voting process again in that sense. So,
I guess I think just in the interest of time, let's move forward.
Yeah.
This was very helpful, and let's move to the next amendment.
all right. So this amendment is it's kind of lengthy, so I'm going to try and summarize it. The membership requirements and dues. The proposed amendment is to make a definition of member more inclusive by expanding upon the disciplines to include any of the quantifiable sciences, including economics, sociology, archaeology, and to simplify the membership criteria further to include any male Ahmadi Muslim from, I believe it's supposed to be age 7. The proposed amendment below would replace Section 3 altogether. So as it is in Section 3, these are the different sciences that are written in the Constitution. It also includes students who are in graduate studies or in postgraduate studies. And it also mentions that the committee may reject the enrollment of a person or suspend any member. And the rate of subscription or membership was $25 per year for regular members and $10 per year for student members. And so the proposal here is that we want to open it up and be more inclusive by including any individual above the age of 7 years who has an interest in science, technology, engineering, or mathematics, or any quantifiable discipline, including such examples as economics, archaeology, or sociology. And we split it up into more membership categories. First off, there's the junior members, which would be anyone from ages 7 to 14, and that would be free, so namely Atfal. And then student members ages 15 plus, and including undergraduate and graduate students, their membership fee would be $20. Associate members, being postgraduate students or residents in medical school, would be $50, and full members, being professionals, professors, faculty, or industry researchers, or even retireds and other student and a non-student who has a high level of interest in sciences, their membership fee would be $100. And also, this final clause, this other clause that is in addition, is that the executive committee can provide an honorary membership upon male students or faculty from outside the USA Jamaat, including non-Ahmadis who promote the objectives of the associations. Honorary membership is an honor bestowed on an individual by the association, but it does not grant the honoree the right to vote during the proceedings of the association. So this is the amendment to that constitution, and I'll open it up for a discussion if anyone has any thoughts or comments about this.
Maybe I should start. Now, this may not be the perfect way to do it, but this is based on several planning meetings. So every year we have an annual planning meeting. In March, we sat down and discussed exactly what membership is. As you can see, currently the Constitution is very restrictive. You have to fit within a very specific criteria of disciplines, and secondly, you have to be actively involved in those disciplines in order to qualify. When I had the privilege of mulaqat with Hazrat Khalifatul Masih about 2 years ago, Huzur specifically said that we should try to enroll a maximum number of students into the organization. Now, that obviously still allows, even the current constitution allows students to join, but they don't have the same type of name or status as currently identified. And secondly, we've expanded upon the disciplines. So that was the background to this particular amendment.
Yes, you can come up and comment if you like.
Assalamu alaikum. So I'm not from a scientific background, in case you guys haven't discovered that already. So I'm from an economics background. I think it's a pretty good idea. We had one of the talks earlier on that was speaking about, getting connections from different fields and using that as insight. So I think it's productive to have people from different fields. However, the content of the actual conversations, I think, should still be restricted to those fields that were mentioned on the initial proposal. So physical sciences and those kind of sciences, as opposed to, I'm assuming you're not going to be talking about economics in one of your...
So you're referring to like the symposium, the content of the symposium?
The content should remain the same. It should be fixed.
But, just to clarify, I actually was in England on 2 occasions this year. On both occasions, I had a chance to have discussions with some of our counterparts in the UK who have had more interactions with Khalifatul Masih regarding this question, and they've mentioned to me, and this is indirect though, that Huzur has specified archaeology, for example, certain soft sciences as included within scientific research. And here in the US, for example, this year we wanted to host a talk in the main session that's happening in the next half hour or so on the science of economics in the Quran, and ask someone like Dr. Atif Mia to give a talk. And so there seems to be a movement towards being more inclusive of the sciences because now they're much more quantifiable.
I mean, we have like doctors and engineers and architects associations as well. So it's how much, I mean, if there's particular organizations that already exist, there's no point trying to include them in the current one. And I think, I mean, if there's special emphasis on archaeology, maybe there should be, you know, that inclusion.
No, I mean, this is a really healthy discussion. I mean, if I might just comment on this part as well, it's that I'm a medical doctor by training, but I primarily serve as a scientific researcher. And similarly, you know, there's a lot of overlap between several fields. Dr. Hamid Nassim, Dr. Ammar are engineers by training, but they primarily are engaged in scientific research. So you can, it's kind of like being Mehdi and Masih, if you will, that you can be part of both organizations and they're not mutually exclusive.
If I may comment, again, Dr. Mubarak Shah, I think it seems like we are thinking and emphasizing all inclusive, more inclusive. And then I hear at the same time a bit restrictive. No, I don't see any harm in including all persons who consider themselves some scientists. I mean, I'm a physician, I'm a surgeon, so many others. So it brings, I think, different flavors, different perspective, at times mentorship, at times guidance and wisdom. And at the same time, the benefits are more members, financially are stronger. So I don't see any harm in that. I don't think Khalifatul Masih is making it restrictive. How you function, I understand the emphasis on people who are actively involved in research. That's wonderful. And to encourage children is wonderful. But all of us bring something to the form, to disable, which is, I think, is very healthy.
And actually, not to comment on every comment that is made, but just to clarify that that's exactly what the amendment proposes, which is this clause, that any non-student who has expressed a high level of interest in the sciences and promotes the objectives of the association can also become a full member. So you need not be actively involved as faculty or in industry in order to become a member. I mean, the analogy that I use is that Khalifatul Masih Rabi Rahimahullah was a scientist, but where was his PhD? Or what university was he a faculty of? He was in the greatest faculty in the greatest university of Islam. And so he would qualify, in my mind, as the highest among our membership.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
I'm not a member yet, but I'm fascinated to become a member. 2 points that I'd like some clarification on. Was social services, social scientists included also in this proposal as far as psychology and those type of sociology, those fields? And then second issue is the definition of membership. How is it going to roll into? Are they voting members for purposes of amendments, things like that? For example, do we want 7, 8 years old to be voting members for decisions? I think there should be some clarification to the final proposal as to what are the responsibilities of the members and how that's allocated.
Jazakallah, that's a good point. Was there another comment?
Assalamu alaikum. I have one comment. I see the membership, and I don't really object to the amount of the membership fee, but I see it having gone up, let's say, 400%. So a lot of time, I mean, we are part of professional organizations, and we do pay much more than this, $100, so I'm fine with that. But what are our plans for, I mean, what services will provide to the membership other than an annual conference?
Gee, that's a good question.
Assalamu alaikum. I think it's an excellent suggestion and something that was overdue. Just a comment is that if we go to the subjects, I think the new yes. So over here we say quantifiable discipline, interest in science, technology, engineering. But when we look at the quotes of the Hazrat Khalifatul Masih, Idullah Ta'ala bin Nasr al-Aziz, regarding scientist or science, Huzur uses the word research a lot. So he says Ahmadi scientists should use Quran as a guide in their research. Ahmadi students should use the Holy Quran for research. So maybe the word research should be added somewhere. Interest in research in science, technology, engineering, medicine, any quantifiable subject, and then we don't have to give the other subject names. That's just a suggestion, but otherwise it looks fine. Jazakallah.
Jazakallah.
Please, and I think in the interest of time, just please.
I'm trying to keep it clear. Just in terms of the actual fees, can they be voluntary as opposed to, expected? So it's a contribution as opposed to an expectation. And then that contribution can allow people to pay more than just the fixed fee. Because I think membership will be reduced otherwise. And maybe in the first few years you want to kind of encourage more participation, which is a greater goal.
There was one other comment.
Mashkoor Ahmed from Silver Spring.
Wow.
I support this suggestion. Two minor comments. I think the fee structure should be simplified. Right now there are 4 categories, and the graduate students, I think, even it's $20, but if you want to encourage them, it should be at least free, or it will be nominal like $5. I think that will simplify things a lot. And secondly, in the honorary membership, you had only a male honorary. So why is there only male? Why cannot be a female scientist be?
The female have their own scientists organization,
Okay.
the Ahmadi Women Scientists
Okay.
Association.
Let me just briefly, very briefly comment on some of these. I think this is what it is right now. We can modify something briefly if it's a glaring issue, but otherwise it has to be tabled for further evolution, and we can decide on that based on the voting. I think one point that came up was whether the 7 to 14-year-olds will have the same rights to vote as any other age group, and that's something that we didn't think about. So, Atfal, for example, in our Jamaat, don't have the chance to vote in Jamaat elections and so on. And in fact, maybe I think Khaddam do, and that too we can clarify up to a certain age. And so perhaps, that could be a glaring oversight on our part.
I thought we did vote on that. 14 and under will be student members with no voting.
Okay, then that would make sense. We can add, sorry.
I think wording it as paying members, or paying members will have voting rights.
Right.
Whereas those who are free will not.
And then regarding the
That's
payments, right, Jazakallah, and if we can add that, at some point, or we can clarify it, even though that's what we're going to vote on, even if it's not written here exactly. The regarding the fee structure, we went back and forth on several occasions. This has been over, I'd say, a 2-year process of discussion. And we decided that $20, just as Huzur has mentioned in various AMLA meetings of various auxiliaries, that if you buy a Big Mac, a Happy Meal for your kid, and maybe a sundae and a soda at McDonald's, that all adds up to about $20. So that $20 wasn't an exorbitant amount, and in fact, it just helped express that you were willing to be part of the organization. The services provided by the organization, if you pay your fees, well, so that's where I think we won't have time to brainstorm. We can just list them out, perhaps, is that we would like to offer travel scholarships to the Quran and Science Symposium. Right now, each presenter or moderator or a participant has to pay on their own to arrive here, which is not feasible for many students. And so that would be one of the major benefits of the subscription. The second is that it would help subsidize the Quran and Science. Right now, it's just through, initially it was through philanthropy, just individual donors. And then recently, the Jamaat generously contributed to the event. But the stipulation from previous Amir Saab was that the organization should stand on its own feet financially. And so that's why these dues are necessary. And I think we all agree, just based on the overall constitution of most of these organizations, that it would be mandatory. I hope that helps clarify some of these points. I think we need to move on. And so it seems to me that with that one clarification that the student members, that first category of junior members are non-voting, that the amendment would stand pretty much as it is. So I think what we should do is just decide on whether we want to propose the amendment or not propose the amendment.
With that change, should I just make the change, add it in here at some point?
You have 30 seconds.
This will have to be reworded, obviously, but.
Or the junior members don't have voting rights. Something like.
Okay,
Okay.
that will, so with that inclusion, I will then open this up for voting. So those who are, if there are no more comments, those who are.
Because of time, we have to move on.
All right, so those who are in favor for this amendment change, please raise your hand. Jazakallah. And those who reject this proposal, please raise your hand. Jazakallah. All right, so there were 16 votes for the proposal and 0 votes against the proposal. Jazakallah. So we will move on, I think, really quick. If I would request our Finance Secretary, Adil Malik Saab, to quickly go over the finance report for the Majlis.
Maybe let's do this. Let's have him do the finance report, and then you just mentioned
Yes.
Format, but I'm also just gonna. So, really, we're talking about membership dues and voting rights and all that. So this background and context of what the current situation is like is very useful to know, because we do need to kind of ramp up our membership dues contributions. As of this year, there are only 3, so far in 2016, 3 people that have contributed membership dues. So, I mean, I won't go into a discussion of, necessarily what we can. I'm just going to lay this out here. This is what the current situation looks like. And actually, certain expenses from this event have not been deducted from what the total shows as of now. This is after Jalsa. We sat here, but as Sadr Saab mentioned, the Quran and Science Symposium itself is covered by Jamaat sponsorship. So I think the technicalities of how much we actually contribute out of this towards the symposium will be worked out. But this is where we stand. I think, do you have any comments, Other Sabe?
Well, Jazakallah,
Sure.
I didn't expect, you didn't have to give out those exact details, but I think the overview is that right now we're just taking off. And so we're really in a stage where our finances are at a basic level. And so, but I think it's a good start. And what we have gotten permission for is PayPal. So, once we clarify what membership is, and each of you feels that, you want to be a member, then you have multiple ways of paying your dues. And that will build the financial strength of the organization. This meeting takes about maybe about with the number of people today, mashallah, it's a good problem, maybe about $4,000. And most of it is food costs because, alhamdulillah, there's no cost for the rooms or for the space. And most of the people are, everyone's a volunteer. So 4,000. So the estimate is that that's how we came up with the number of 100, that if there were, let's say, 100 full members, that comes to about, I think, $10,000, if I did the math correctly. And then if there were a few others, in the other categories, that adds up to another 4,000 or 5,000. That gives us financial strength for one Quran and Science, as well as a couple of other distinct meetings, plus travel scholarships that might be equivalent to the 4,000. So that was the rough estimate.
On the note of PayPal, actually, so the PayPal link is on MuslimScientist.org. You can log in. You can go to MuslimScientist.org, click the donations tab, and submit a donation. It's just marked as a donation, so you would just have to know, and it's actually listed on the site what the payment options are. But anyone can go on and donate any amount. And perhaps this is an appeal we can make right here that if something like the Quran and Science Symposium is something that you support, if the general objectives of this organization is something that you support, maybe going online and going to MuslimScientist.org and donating via PayPal there is a good option, and would be much appreciated from the organization. So I think that's a brief finance update. I'm not sure if we need to go any more in depth.
That's great.
All right, Jazakallah. We are running short on time, so I want to thank everyone for participating and being part of the meeting here. The report will be compiled and then sent to Hazur Anwar for approval for some of the amendments as well. Our final session will start at 3:45. We will end this session with dua, so I would request Sadr Sahib to please lead us in dua.
Can I make a short comment?
Sure, a very short comment, please.
This is my first event here. I actually like it. It's very inspiring. But the attendance, the way you guys were promoting it out in the field, I thought this was like the philosophy of the teachings of Islam type of conference, and everybody's coming. So it's actually quite small, but the communication was quite effective. I personally think because it's small and you have a good team here, this could actually be made mobile and have regional symposiums for 1 or 2 years so that people get awareness of the actual event, and then they come once a year to the general event as well. Because there's a lot of young kids who are scientists. I know even in our Jamaat haven't come. And I was really excited by some of the presentations that the kids were making. I think that's very inspiring. So if you could take it out on the road, do it regionally for 1 or 2 years and then bring it back or keep it going that way, I think you'd get a lot more Nobel Peace Prize winners.
Yeah, this is an excellent idea. So if we welcome any ideas that you might have. You can email us at muslim.scientists@ahmadiyya.us. And also, if you registered, then we have your email address, and you can be part of our e-blast. So we will regularly send out e-blasts so you are aware of some of our activities. And we'd be happy to get any feedback and input from you guys as well for that. So,
Zakla, we need your help. This is your organization, and we need more players on board. So if we want to take it on the road, let's do it. But we may need to borrow your car. And things like that. So really, everyone is welcome to be part of it. We would love your support. Please join me in dua. Ameen. Zakla, the next session will start at 3:45, so just, I think, under 10 minutes or, yeah, just under 10 minutes. And that's the main session, so try to please be there.